One of my biggest regrets, one of my only regrets, is that I never bore a child in my life, which is pretty, you just really don't understand till you've heard Sandy's ghost story. But, you know, Sandy's ghost story? Oh, my ghost story? I've got time this morning. You know the story? It started like 15 years ago when I had an epiphany. I was 51 when I realized I was female. Yeah, 51. And now I'm 64. So I was like 14, 15 years ago. I started my walkabout. I started my search with an epiphany. I wanted to live. I ended up in the hospital for almost a month. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, diabetes. They looked at my urine and said, "How are you still alive?" What? I lost my gallbladder. When I got out, I lost 40 pounds almost instantly. And I decided I wanted to live. But what my higher power heard is, I want to live my best life. That's what my higher power heard. And so I did things I'd never done before. I stretched myself places I'd never been before. I was online. I was on the internet back when I was going biz, click, biz, click. And I searched. And I fell amongst the hypnodoms. And they told me that they'd teach me a little hypnosis. They'd teach me a little meditation. And I learned square breathing. And I learned to meditate. I fell in love with one person. And they said, "Love me, love me, love me." And I did for about 4 months. And then it sounded hollow and empty. And they were saying the same thing. And I wasn't growing. So I stepped away. And I found someone who lived in Florida. And they weren't in it for the money, because everything they made after 6 months was free. So I enjoyed their free content. And they were beautiful and artful and creative and fun. And I learned more about my own soul and my own spirit. They had a little section about being a girl, but I avoided that. They called it feminization, and I avoided those sessions that they had for free. And then I met another one who was a real gem, and another one whose voice easily hypnotized me, and then another one who, well, I just felt very right with. Something clicked. Now the other ones, the one who was a gem and whose voice easily hypnotized, they had little sections about being a girl. They called it feminization. I avoided those because that's not me. But then I met someone, another person, who I just clicked with. And it just felt right. And I trusted them. And I liked what they created. And most of it was free. And I was enjoying their syllabus, one session at a time, very organized, very orderly, letting each session sink on my heart and stay there for about a week as I meditated on their words and thought about what was going on. And they had nothing about being a girl, no section about that. But I came to this one session called Mirror, Mirror. And in it, in this meditation, in this audio tape, they took me and pulled me into a mirror. Now, about 2 years ahead of time, I'd stopped watching television, network news, network TV. I cut myself off from the world, and I began to tune myself into my own soul and listen to what my heart really had to say. So when this session came and took me into a mirror, and it pulled me in and turned me into a woman, I looked deep into my own soul, to my own spirit, and I saw, oh my gosh, my spirit, my soul, has always been female. Like a little stone flowing in the water, I saw ripples going in all directions. And I realized all the things my power had to do to bring me to this one point where I could see who I truly was. And I could see my future heading out in front of me. I could see rolling in front of me as I knew I was going to become the person I was always intended to be. And at that moment, I dedicated myself to become not just a woman, but the best woman I could be. So for me at that time, that was a little bit Barbie. So yeah, I was going to be a little bit Barbie. Yeah, and I had not met Hello Kitty yet. No, not yet. But I dedicated, and I had no friends who were lesbian, no friends who were gay. I'd never heard the word trans in my life. I didn't know anyone else was going through this. I just knew I was female. So you know what? I changed my pronouns. I didn't call it that. I just said, I am her, I am me, I am she. Why? Because I like to rhyme. That's the honest answer. I redefined myself. I walked up and down the stairs and exercised as I chanted, I am her, I am me, I am she. And that was my mantra, my very first mantra. And then I saw Moana. And as I was driving home from watching Moana at the theaters, the other part of my mantra came. I'm a good girl. I'm a lovely lady. I'm a wonderful woman. I'm a pretty princess. that just welled up in me. Driving home from seeing Moana, it affected me so profoundly. That movie did. And so back in Florida, there's this one person I had met, and I went back through their sessions that talked about being a girl and fed my female spirit. And they had this one session called Power of the Name. And I wondered, for the first time ever, what should my female name be? This is my rebirth story. I'm celebrating my 5th year of my anniversary of my name change. So I went, what should my name be? And I thought, the very first girl I ever had a crush on, I was 14. She was 14. She was a pretty good look 14-year-old. And, well, her name was Sandy. I thought for another moment. The only person I've ever asked to marry me in my life, her name, I was in this church at the time, where you didn't even date unless you were planning on getting married, and her name was Sandy. And I asked her to marry me. Of course, she laughed and said no. I never held her hand, never had sex with her, or with the other one, actually. Never even talked to the first one. But because of them, because of the unrequited love, because of the love I had for them, I chose the name Sandy. As soon as I did, I called my little sister and said, guess what? Guess what, sis? You got a new sister. Her name is Sandy, and it's me. My little sister goes, well, as long as you're happy, I'm happy. I'm glad I got a new sister. And my little sister loves having her big sibling but now be a little sister. Yeah. She was my safe place. I came to visit her over in Illinois many times, where I explored and tried out and fit into this body of mine that was becoming more and more female every day. So I chose the name Sandy. And then I told my big sister, Sue. And when I told Sue, she goes, well, as long as you're happy, I'm happy. But don't tell mom and dad. They won't understand. But I wanted to, but I didn't. My mom's very creative. She makes jewelry. And I wanted to tell her mom how much I rock her jewelry and make it look beautiful all around the world. Because I do, and I did, and I have, and I will. But I didn't tell mom because my sister said, don't, they won't understand. So I changed my name on the internet, and I changed my name on, my email address became Dandelion Girl instead of what it was, my dead name. Now it's Dandelion Girl, 1957. That's who I am. That's me. That's me. And then, well, my brother saw it. My brother who recently passed away on the 8th of March, my brother saw it. And I was talking with my brother. My brother's, who's this Sandy on the internet? Is that Cindy? Did she change her name? My brother knew it wasn't that. I went, nope, that's me. I realized I was female. My brother goes, don't expect me to like it, but I always knew there was something different about you. What? Now that's my brother taking it with love. I know my brother. No chew out, no disowning, no yelling. That's love for my brother. Now later on, when I visited my little brother, my brother in Aiken, South Carolina, he took me to the little shops they've got in Aiken, and introduced me as his sister from Cleveland over and over again. Oh my God, my brother loves me and accepts me and supports me. Now, if my brother can take it, I think my mom can handle it too. And if my mom can handle it, my dad can handle it. That's just how things roll in my place. So I called up my mom. I said, hey, God, Mom, guess what? I'm a girl. I'm your girl. And my new name is Sandy. And my mom goes, I always knew there was something different about you. Mothers know these things. Oh, Ma. What? You always knew? I was 51 before I figured anything out. And you always knew? What's going on here? And so, because my mom now knew, and my dad knew with her, right, and accepted me as the woman I was, I changed my name legally on October 26, 2017 to Sandy. But if you change your name, you can change your whole name, okay? So you can change your name to Rumpelstiltskin if you want to, but yeah, Sandy, but I had to change my middle name. And said, you know what? My grandmother's first name is Alice. By choosing that name, I'm honoring every woman in the world and my family line. And I'm proud of my sisters and my family line. We're creative. We're wonderful. We're fun. We're silly. We spread love is what we do. I'm proud of my family line. So I chose the name Sandy Alice. So on October 26, 2017, I became Sandy Alice.